top of his head. Come and listen to the words that he said. If you wasn't sure, well now you will know. This will be one of your favorite shows.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Haas Talks. Joining me in the studio today, tonight, this morning, this evening, whatever it may be, Angie Battles. And Angie Battles is a name that's known by a couple hundred people. I mean, you have a couple hundred friends on Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. Angie Battles, for those that don't know, is the chief of scoring for the Lucas Oil National Oil 600 Series, the Ameriflex Hose and Accessories Oil Capital Racing Series 305. IMCA, whatever it is. ASCS Sooner region. You score at the Tulsa Shootout, the Chili Bowl. You do it all. You work here at Port City sometimes. Angie, thanks for taking time out of your day to talk to me.
Sure, it's always a pleasure, Haas.
Aw, look at you, so nice. Everybody's going to be laughing at this point. You know they are.
You know, we're roadies. We've been on the road together
We've
before.
been on the road before. Angie, being a scorer, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. It's a lot of sight-hand coordination. The hand never breaks. But how did the hand get started? Like, how did you get started doing what you do?
I think I really can't remember the exact time, but my brothers raced. For those that don't know, my brothers raced for my whole life. Well, I'm older, so obviously my whole life. But
right. Who is your brother? And let's back up. Beep, 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 beep. Hold on. For those that may not know, who is your father?
That's a secret.
It's a top secret.
It is. No, Jim Bailey is my dad.
And Jim Bailey is the creator of Lightning Wings.
Yes, I worked there one day.
You worked there one day and you're like, not going to do it.
I got fired.
Oh, you got fired? Mm-hmm. But why? Like, what? That first day, he was like, "Now, Angie, come over here." Your dad doesn't sound like an old, crippled man, but Angie, come on over here and let me show you. I want to show you how to do this.
Yeah.
And what was it that you were doing that he was like, "Oh, never mind, you're fired. Go back to AAA."
Yeah, I was drilling holes in the nose wing, and he doesn't like you to let the drill hit the nose wing because it leaves a divot or a dent in it. So I was using my body, to not let it hit, and then the drill got stuck in my shirt, and my dad was like, "That's it. You're fired. You're done.
You're done.
This is not for you."
Now, how old were you whenever this was? Was this like teenage years?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. I was probably. I was at least 16, but I don't remember how old I was. But
his shirt got wrapped up, and you were done.
Yeah.
So, now your first ever scoring, you think it was here maybe at Port?
Yeah, I think so. I used to work, my brother raced quarter midgets back in the day with Shane Stewart and all of them. We all grew up together. I didn't really do a lot of scoring there because we ran around and played a lot because we were kids. And then I came out here and I started working the pip board down there.
On the tower, the old school.
Yep. So I worked there for a while, and then when I believe it was Jesse, and I don't remember who owned it at the time. It might have been. I worked for Carbone, so it probably was Carbone that asked me if I could score, and I was like, sure. So Jesse kind of taught me. Guthrie that works here now.
Yeah.
We've scored together for a while, and I'll leave and go do something and come back and score again together. And
so, man, that's been a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked for Carbone way back in the day when we used to have big old parties at the Home Builders Association.
So how long have you been scoring then? A roundabout number?
Let's see. I would say at least 20 years, if not longer.
And so over time, you've just kind of became this scoring guru.
I guess.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's easy. I don't watch the race. People are like, "Did you see so-and-so?" I'm like, "No, I watched the start-finish line."
Yeah. And at some tracks, it's harder than others.
Yeah, Port City's hard.
It gets really difficult because Port City's such a small track. Mm-hmm. There's some tracks that we went to with Now 600 that were difficult. Like for me to see announcing the stuff, right? Like Greenville. I mean, you could barely even see a car on the front straightaway at the start-finish line.
Mm-hmm. It's dark and the wall's so tall.
So how do you adjust to that? I mean, are you basing it off of like the exit of turn 4? Are you guessing by helmet color?
Yeah.
I mean, because you've got to figure that out. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, you have a lot of the same people running with you, so you kind of get the idea. But then you turn around, you fast forward to the shootout.
Oh yeah, and there's Chili Bowl. That's the worst.
And it's hard, first of all, because it's another tight track, the close quarters racing, and then people want to put these these graphic designer guys want to put these crazy numbers or letters on there.
Yes.
What is it about scoring that you enjoy? Like, why did you keep on doing it? Why didn't you just, your son races, you said your brother races. What kept you doing that instead of hanging out with the family at the race trailer, sipping tea and?
Well, I think it kind of kept me out of trouble.
Oh, are you a little trouble starter?
Yeah, Carbone used to say I ate hot sauce for breakfast. That's what Steve Carbone would say.
Man, so to keep you away from the yah-yahing and the mouthing and stuff. You still mouth though, right?
Oh yeah, in the box.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all the time.
I throw my pins.
That poor window. The poor window. So over the course of the years, you've progressed into being, a scoring guru, like I've said time and time again, and you work with different series, and everybody does something just a little bit different, right? Mm-hmm. So what's it like having to keep up with the change of, well, now 600 does it this way, OCRS, we do it this way, ASCS, we do it this way, and even here, we may do it different. Mm-hmm. Do you have to, kind of refresh your memory, I'm going to port, but I'm going to port, but I'm scoring for now 600, so we do it a little bit different. Mm-hmm. What's the changes been like throughout the last 20 years of scoring?
Well, it's definitely changed a lot. Back when I started, we didn't have transponders up until Aaron, I think, bought them maybe 5 years. Maybe it might be more than 5 years ago, but it seems like 5 years ago. Transponders weren't really used that much, and we always had 3 scores, and we went off the, just whoever had the 2 to 1.
And so now it's kind of like you versus the computer.
Oh, yeah, and it's all in transponder location.
Yeah.
I know my eye saw right.
Right. Right. But you can't give it down to the 10th
No.
So that's a big problem that people don't realize is that a lot of the times transponders do come first. You're kind of just a secondary just to, verify the computer system because, hey, let's face it, sometimes the computer system is wrong. Yeah. But there's also times that technology just doesn't work and it's all on you. Mm-hmm. Do you feel any added pressure whenever Terry's like, oh, Angie, my computer's restarting, it decided to do an update?
Well, when he says that, I just said my hand didn't update and I just keep writing. The only time I get scared.
My hand didn't do an update.
He's probably rolling his eyes right now. But at the Chili Bowl, I think it was a Chili Bowl, the 50 lap A-main, one night they went down and I was literally my feet were
firm.
Yes. And I was
because at the Chili Bowl, it's not just one scorer. It's you, Jess, and Ashley, mm-hmm. right? And plus the transponders. Mm-hmm. So it's another. That would be kind of tense.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years. They've kind of figured out a little bit of the problem, and they got a new computer, and we haven't had many problems like that since then. But there are still races that they will go down just because, computer. Mm-hmm.
Now, this year, I've noticed that you've been doing a little bit more, not just scoring. You've been working the on-ramp, the lineup area, and you've been doing different things. Is there a job in racing that you've always wanted to do that you haven't done yet?
I've always wanted to flag. Not a whole race.
Right.
But I'm kind of scared of being that close. Yeah. And Terry wants me to do the cone, but I don't know about those cars coming towards me.
Chili Bowl or shootout?
Oh, no.
No, you wouldn't do that?
No.
Yeah. No.
I did flag at the Chili Bowl, remember, during practice?
Oh, yes, you did. You did throw the green flag.
Yeah, way back.
I remember that. You did do that. So being a race mom and being a race worker, where do you draw the line of having your kid on the track and scoring and knowing the race director's right next to you? You can be like, did you see that kid hit my kid? I mean, how do you draw the line?
It was hard probably when he was younger in junior sprints. But, my dad's raced my whole life. I've been around it for 40 plus years.
She got flustered. She's like,
no. But, to me, it's just another kid on the track. Sometimes I don't even realize he's out there.
Right.
And there's been many a nights we would drive home and he would say, you screwed me. I was ahead of that car. And you messed me up. I always lose. I'm never going to win when it's you up there. And I'm like, that's just what I write down.
Right. He's got to be fair. So outside of racing, do you have a life?
Not much of one. Terry keeps me very busy. When you asked about, this different series earlier, I was thinking last weekend I got in and we got somewhere and I said, why is Jeremy Campbell here? And he said, well, it's an ASCS race. I said, oh, I thought it was OCRS.
Didn't even know what you... And then you turn around and you went and you worked the bicycle races on Sunday.
He tried to kill me that weekend.
That was a long weekend.
Yes, Chris
because you
died.
guys went to... How do you say that town in Kansas you went to?
Was it
The
Beta?
W... No, the W one.
Waukene?
Waukene.
I almost died there too.
You go to Waukene. We've had some crazy road stories.
Yes.
Like the time whenever we were on our way to, where were we going? Humboldt, and we started hearing something dragging, and you're like, you got like panicked.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, Terry, we're about to blow this thing up,
Yes.
and the whole exhaust fell off the motorhome,
Yes. Me and you had to fix it.
and we were on the side of the road, no tools, but that dude was mowing his lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we got lucky on that.
Yeah. How about the very first trip in the motorhome? Do you remember that? I was in a boot.
Oh yeah, whenever we went to RPM,
He almost flipped it.
So we go to RPM, and we were like, it was our maiden voyage in the RV, and we were all stoked, and we're like, yeah. Terry's like, we're just gonna go to the track and stay at the track, and we go to pull up, and the gates are locked.
Yes.
And this was before Kevin, Sestair, and KR had leased the track. It was whenever Martin was
Yes.
still in charge of the whole thing. I remember that, and we tried to make the U-turn, and we drove off in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And then we about got stuck trying to back up.
Yeah.
It was dangerous.
Yeah.
It
I
was
was a little
pitch
scared.
black, dark. You're like, I'm in a freaking boot.
And that was a definite experience. He broke my leg at Pocola.
Oh, yeah, getting up. That's why you were in the boot. What? No. Yeah. Because you were trying to get across the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely had some fun doing it. I like being here every week at Port City, because I can watch my kid race.
Right.
But at the same time, I enjoy kind of just getting out and doing different series
Right.
and seeing different people because, I've been around racing, like I said, 40-something years, and it doesn't really seem like it used to be back in the day.
Right.
I actually called Cindy, my stepmom, before I came over, and I was like, did I imagine this, or
Right.
and she's like, no, but back in the day at the Tulsa Speedway, they had a booster club, and they had like a picnic
Right.
at Mohawk Park, and they invited all the families out, and that was probably like in the 80s,
Right.
and everybody showed up. We had sack races, bicycle races, just those 3-wheel bicycles,
Right.
and they gave out little first place ribbons, and it was just a lot of fun. I remember that, just fun things. Like racing was a little more.
I remember the booster clubs at like State
Yeah.
Fair Speedway and stuff. They had the Junior Fan of the Week and everything else.
And trophy girls. I was a trophy girl at the old Tulsa Speedway.
Hey, you know what? Joe Duvall says it all the time, that trophy girls, we need to make a comeback with trophy girls.
Yeah, but I was a little girl. I was a little trophy girl.
Oh, you're a little princess.
Yes, and Jim Carpenter always gave the little trophy girls diamond earrings. So I got me called him Diamond Jim Carpenter.
Oh, well, that's a good
Yeah.
story there.
Just I like the old days. Just-
Right. But over the course of time, what do you feel like has changed?
I think just people have gotten, back in the day we didn't have social media, but
Right.
also people were just more family driven, and we did a lot more things with families, and everybody kind of like helped each other. Not that they don't help each other now, but they kind of hung out. They didn't just show up at the races and stay in their air conditioned trailers. We had open
Right.
trailers, and my dad would race 3 nights a week in there, with them back in the MAP series. We
Right.
Many a nights I would spend on the sidewalk while they rebuilt the motor or whatever to go race the next day.
Do you remember your first time coming to like Port City Raceway? If like you were to think back to it as a little kid,
Not really. I remember Creek, I think, a lot more, and I don't know why Creek County.
always stands out to you.
Mhm,
Creek stands out to me from like as far as going to Tulsa tracks with my dad, because we were sprint car fans and sprint car people, and going to Tulsa. And then going to Little Rock. Like I remember some of ththose trips as a younger kid. And like racetracks to me, they just haven't changed.
No.
Like they really, I mean, some of your new tracks, are, your Lucas Oils and everything else, and they've changed. And I feel like just in the time that I've been coming here, things have changed as far
yeah.
as like, it feels more like a big showing, it's pretty cool. But it would be cool to get back to some of those older day traditions, like the booster clubs or something like that, to really get back to the drivers and everything else.
Yeah, just a family day. I mean, it just kind of, just
Yeah.
brings everybody together, and everybody can hang out, and you get to know people more instead of just your few little cliquey drivers that you hang out with.
You've been to a lot of different racetracks over the last whatever, umpteen years. Like, do you have like a favorite track that you really enjoy going to?
I like the smaller tracks. I'm not a fan of big tracks.
Right.
That's kind of why I've always liked Port City.
Yeah.
So I would say probably Meeker is probably one of my favorites. I like Humboldt too. Just the smaller tracks. Lake of the, like Lucas Oil is nice.
Right, but it's big.
It's big.
It's a long way to walk from the trailer over to the
yes.
freaking tower.
That's a long time.
Oh, man. You got to get a day's head start to get over there.
Oh, yes.
The big hill and all that stuff. Man.
As far as nice, that's the nicest one. But I like
Yeah.
the more smaller. Like Creek County is probably one of my favorites, because it's a smaller quarter
Right.
mile.
You get action.
Yes.
You like action
That's
all
right.
over the place.
I don't want to be bored. Just
No.
scoring down the highway.
Do you have a particular, like, a favorite class of cars that you like watching? Do you prefer the micros over the sprint cars, or the sprint cars over the micros, or you just like racing?
I just like racing.
Yeah?
Not really one class over the other. My
Yeah.
eyes are not like a non-wing much anymore. But
Right. So, you're getting fairly close to retirement.
that's why I keep telling
Right.
Terry.
Do you ever see yourself not scoring races? Do you see yourself slowing down maybe?
No, my kid just moved out, and so I've got a empty nest, and
Empty nester now. Oh, Blake's all grown up.
so I can go whenever I want. I'm ready to
So
go.
for those that don't know, Blake Battles is her son, the 14 car.
I would like to do the national tour one time, but
Just to say you did it.
it would be hard because I have to have a full-time job.
Right.
But my dad retired from American, so
You're looking at a big picture here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can retire one day, right?
yeah.
From the parent side of standpoint of things, you've supported your kid through football, through racing, from quarter midgets up to everything. Now he's ran a midget too, hadn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he's done a lot of different things in sports and in racing and just in general. As a parent right now, as we get ready to close out the show, like if you had to give, or you were able to give, like not necessarily like a seminar, but like a speech, or like even like a hint of advice to a new parent that's just moving from quarter midgets to junior sprints, or just moving into racing in general, that's just being introduced to it. Like, what would be some advice that you would give to some of these parents that they haven't experienced stuff yet?
Well, and even the more, like Curtis Jones, he's been around it for a long time as well, but his kid's young. My kid was young when he started in junior sprints. He was like 6. He was good at quarter midgets. He won, and we get him out here in a junior sprint, and he's getting lapped. I'm just like, what in the world is going on? But they're just babies, and it's hard to realize that because you're so competitive. Like my, Blake's dad, Kevin, he was real competitive. I'm competitive. I want to win, but you just got to let them have their own time, just kind of feel it out. They're going to go and play. It doesn't mean they don't want to race. It's just they're 6, 7 years old, and, just be patient with them. And if they don't like it, they'll tell you they don't like it. That's not that they don't like it. It's just they're just a kid.
They're just a kid. They don't know. They don't know yet. They're
Yeah.
still experience and learning and everything. So you got to give them time. That's a good piece of advice. Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you feel like we should talk about? Like, is there an elephant in the room that we need to address? That people are just like, the question, she looks around. No, Angie, there's not an elephant in this room, literally. But like, is there something that you feel like people may need to know about you that they don't?
No, I'm pretty sure I'm an open book. And
Yes.
it's like, if you want to know, you can ask me, and I will tell you, good or bad.
But beware. She will give you the honest truth, her honest opinion.
I don't want to lie to people.
Yeah, Oprah.
Yeah. Maybe.
We'll leave it at that. But hey, her good piece of information, good piece of advice there. Give your kids time. Be patient with them. Let them learn. Let them figure it out. And she's right here on Haas Talks.
Performance Electronics, custom electronic solutions. From design to manufacturing, let us put your ideas in motion and become your company's full-service electronics manufacturing experts. Performance Electronics.